deal and wants to make a deal with Iran in order to gain his popularity back before the midterm elections.
Yes, Dr. Marianne Girgis, the political analyst, thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International and this special edition. And of course, we'll be continue this coverage about the latest developments in the Middle East and the war between the United States and Iran, and the statements of the American President Donald Trump that the agreement is nearly reached between both countries to be stopping the war, but at what price, and more specifically after we have seen over the past 24 hours the contacts made by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi with several regional leaders and the American President, the Donald Trump himself, and to be shedding more light on those important developments over the past 24 hours. I'm honored to be having with me over the phone Dr. Sara, the international relations expert. Dr. Sara, thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. Good evening to you and to all your audience.
Anytime. First of all, how did you see the contacts that were conducted by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi with his American counterpart and several regional and Arab leaders for the past 24 hours, as we did see today a breakthrough in negotiations between the U.S. and Iran?
Of course, this comes because of the huge mediation of a lot of countries, as you mentioned,
yes.
Principally Egypt, Pakistan, the usual mediators in this exact fight. And it's a huge success, of course, as long as this war didn't come back and didn't initiate once more. So we're speaking about success of mediation, we're speaking of success of approaching the points of views, the conditions on the list of the negotiations. Either they have been told to the media or other points that have been in the closed doors. But this tells that there is a movement, success in reaching that this war doesn't break back, because there has been threats by the U.S. to strike again Iran, damage more, and nobody wants this war to get any longer, of course, because of the international economic situation.
Yes. On the other hand, Dr. Sara, I was speaking with Dr. Marianne Girgis, the political analyst, and I asked her about the popularity levels, the dwindling popularity levels of the U.S. President Donald Trump after entering the war against Iran, and without congressional consent and approval, and of course the challenges that he is facing nowadays after months of this war between the U.S. and Iran. And she said that no one has won going out of this war or exiting this war between the U.S. and Iran and Israel as well. Do you agree with that?
I actually, the case that nobody has won,
yes.
Well, Iran has been disrupted, but somehow they managed to keep their enriched uranium safe
Yes.
as one of the negotiating cards in this negotiation. They managed to close the Hormuz Strait and have the whole world pressuring the U.S. And they also managed to transfer the problem or the war into the domestic challenges in the U.S. I would call that a success. I would call that a success from the Iranian part, or intelligence, okay? Because we haven't seen the U.S. troops moving against the president since the Iraq war, and it wasn't that huge.
Yes.
We haven't seen such disturbance, domestic disturbance, and fall of popularity of an American president since '79, and it was also Iran. When Carter was president and he lost the elections because of the hostage crisis. So Iran has always managed to transfer the problem, whatever problem they have with the U.S., it always translates into the streets of the U.S. or the elections of the U.S. And actually this is some kind of, we would say success, not victory, because a victorious party in this part, in this war, it's hard to say who is in total victory.
Yes.
But according to the factors we see, yes, there is destruction in Iran. But did the U.S. manage to end the regime or end the nuclear program or the rockets program? No.
No.
Did they manage to pressure Iran to open Strait of Hormuz either by force or by peace? No. Did they manage to move the streets of Iran? No, the contrary happened. So by those facts and these strategic concepts, we would say that Iran managed to succeed. Okay?
Yes.
The U.S. now knows that the only exit is the talks and negotiations and to build up another agreement that they already had. And Trump withdrew from it in 2018.
Yes.
Okay? So actually, I would say that Iran managed to pressure the U.S. to sit again in negotiations when they have succeeded in such strategic points.
But one point that you have mentioned, Doctor, is that Iran could be giving up on the stockpile of the enriched uranium, and more specifically to a third country like, excuse me, like Russia, for example.
No, they refused that.
That was my question. Do you think that this will be proceeding? This will be going on according to one of the main points of the negotiation?
They wouldn't give up on their enriched uranium. I don't think so. Never. They wouldn't. As long as the U.S. didn't manage to hit where it's hidden, they would never give up on it.
So
they have entered this retaliation war to save their nuclear program and resist the U.S. desires in ending the regime and ending the program. Having this in hand now, with the disability of the U.S. of returning the war, because of course of their allies in the region as well, they have been, all of the allies of the U.S., even Europe, have been hardly struck with this economic crisis. So, no, Iran is not in a position to give up on their nuclear uranium stockpile, no.
So the main point is to be reopening the Strait of Hormuz in exchange of lifting the blockade on the Iranian ports.
And they are actually still negotiating on that, and they want to put fees on it. And Rubio today said that that won't be happening. But I see that as high standards in negotiations, but they would open it again because that's actually, again, it's international law, and no one in the world would support, even if Iran has, some countries see that Iran has the right of self-defense and all of that, but no one would abide to Iran in that file of imposing fees on passing through the Strait of Hormuz. But they are being harder in negotiations with the U.S. in order. That's how negotiations go. We start with high demands and then go withdrawing a little bit. So the Strait of Hormuz, yes, will be open again, and according to international law, just like any strait in the world, free, and this is all abided by international law, of course. But they are making it harder in the negotiation.
And how do you see the fate of the conflict between the Israeli occupation forces and the Hezbollah in the south of Lebanon within those negotiations?
Apparently, out of some of the analysis and reports by think tanks and study centers, apparently that Iran didn't stop their support to Hezbollah. Yes, it has been decreased a lot, not like before, but they haven't ceased their support to Hezbollah. But unfortunately, we are witnessing now guerrilla war between the Israeli army and Hezbollah, and the only loser in that conflict is the state of Lebanon itself, that didn't reach a unity between Hezbollah and the state itself, okay? And unfortunately, Israel has gone further within the Lebanese land. But this, again, this can be talked through either by the mediating country, which is Egypt. It has a main role in the Lebanon fight.
Yes.
Okay, and where the mediation between Hezbollah giving up on their weapons, a deal can be reached if Iran reached a deal with the U.S. It all depends now. Either they are getting the right amount of support from Iran, and the capability of Hezbollah still going on with the on the conflict on the ground, even if it's guerrilla wars. Okay, so we're still talking about strength by Hezbollah, even if it's not like before. But of course, part of the negotiations will have to deal with the weapons of Hezbollah. Let's wait and see how the negotiations go. I would believe that Iran would give up on their proxy, on its proxy groups in the region.
All of them, including the Houthis?
Nuclear program.
All of them,
yes.
Including Hezbollah and the Houthis?
The Houthis didn't intermediate in the war so far. So they haven't been backed up like Hezbollah. And they haven't been taking assistance or support like Hezbollah. So we have already witnessed negotiations and agreements between Hezbollah and the state of Lebanon, and between the state of Lebanon and Israel. So let's hope that these negotiations would go hand in hand with the Iranian part as well as with the U.S. part. And hopefully, if Iran, I would say, is not selfish enough, would get Lebanon an exit from the crisis that it has dragged Lebanon into by their support into Hezbollah on the expense of the Lebanese territory. So we will see how these negotiations go with the U.S. If Iran tells Hezbollah to give up on their weapons to the Lebanese state in exchange of withdrawal of the Israeli army from southern Lebanon, that would be a success for another Arab state, okay? And let's hope Iran does that and doesn't get selfish enough only negotiating about their nuclear program, because we don't want another Arab state paying the price of this vicious war.
Yes, Dr. Sara, the international relations expert, thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International.
Thank you.
Anytime. And this brings us to the end of this special edition. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.